Well, good day, folks. Check this puppy out. Bought this from a customer I sold a building to, and he wasn't using it. Kept going, battery kept dying on him because he wasn't using the truck enough. And I just put a brand new Toyota battery in it, but he went and put in these aftermarket LED lights and some bright fogs. It's got a really nice winch bumper on it and a Warn Evo winch. I should probably take my jacket off of here. I'm glad I caught that. I just finished putting the Sherpa Harvard rack on this, which, if I'm honest, was a bit frustrating. I ordered it in raw aluminum. I don't like powder coated aluminum. It tends to chip and break and all that kind of stuff. So it went together nicely, but they chinched me on a bunch of hardware because I think they sell a lot of black ones, and they had to swap out some stainless fasteners. So they didn't even give me enough of these. I still have to get some of these, and I usually buy most of my stuff from Mike at Red Bear Outdoors in Toronto. He's a good dude. He's got lots of good equipment. For whatever reason, Sherpa, don't know what happened this time, but the way you package this, not very pleased. I had to order some of my own fasteners. Mike offered to make it right, but I wasn't going to be patient enough for that. So I just went and got some of my own. But this is a fine quality rack. It seems a shame. I'm going to put a rooftop tent on here and cover up all these beautiful extrusions. I'm just going to take it for a drive here and make sure this doesn't whistle. But I love the raw aluminum. It's looking really sick. The only other thing I would mention is there was a spot on this part on both sides that got squished in shipping, which is a little frustrating. That needs to be tighter. I'll go around and tighten all these up. But this truck is lifted. Right now it's got 285/65s on it. We're gonna get rid of those. This is gonna get Nokians on it, which is our preferred tire choice. But if any of you are familiar with a second gen Sequoia, these trucks are huge. The back of that seat fell off. We're gonna put some nutserts in there and fix that up. But this thing is like way bigger than a queen size bed in here. The goal with this build is everything's soft in this build. So in the Tundra, everything's hard. It's got a permanent Baltic birch kitchen in it and yada, yada, yada. You can't use the inside of that truck other than for storing stuff. Everything in this truck is gonna be soft. So the cool thing about trucks like this, I mean, this is a limited, it's got everything. It's kind of crazy actually that I'm gonna go and wheel this truck, but yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful machine. Shit. Go close that door. It's a beautiful machine, 5'7". It's got a I believe these have 430 rear ends. I know that with all the weight I carry around in the Tundra, it ends up being more than ample of carrying all that stuff around. But this truck is like full jam loaded. It's got everything. And for 2011 or 2012, I can't remember whatever year this thing is, it's pretty much everything you could get in a 4x4 Sequoia. Center diff locker. There is no rear diff locker, but it does have a limited slip. This truck only has 133,000 kilometers on it, so I was tickled to get my hands on it. So let's go for a drive and make sure that rack doesn't whistle. So one thing to note about high-spec Toyotas and Lexi, they tend to have airbag rear suspension. I think there was some models of the Sequoia that had that. This one does not. It was spec'd with coils originally, and it has lifted coils in it from the previous owner. Like, he had built this truck as sort of like, you know, a COVID apocalypse survival vehicle, and then just never drove it. So it got a lift. It got, you know, fuel wheels, KO2s. I'm gonna swap out the KO2s for sure. These LED headlights are plenty bright. They're not quite aimed correctly, which we can remedy in short order. But the main thing right now is we're approaching highway speeds here, is that this rack doesn't make a ton of noise, and it seems to be, I'm okay with a little bit of wind noise, but if it whistled, that would have been really frustrating. Look at how bright these lights are. So, yeah, I think I'm pleased with this. This truck, we'll see what kind of duty we put it into. I bought it just because it was a good deal. I don't need another truck. We've got all kinds of stuff, but this thing's pretty baller. And the rack is relatively quiet. All right, test drive complete. The rack is actually surprisingly quiet. So that's sweet. And like I ran this by my wife, and she really didn't understand the silver. Like, that's just raw aluminum, right? But I think it looks sick. And my buddy Kev, who's got a front runner rack on his Jeep, he keeps scratching it and touching it up, and it keeps flaking off. And I thought, well, there's no paint to flake off on this. So this Sherpa rack, I believe, is good quality. Definitely disappointed in the hardware kit. They made some mistakes there. And again, like, I don't think this is indicative of a normal. Their reviews online are really good. Everybody speaks very highly of this rack and Sherpa in general, but they made mistakes here that, of course, Mike at Red Bear tried to rectify. And I'm still gonna have to go down there. I pulled a couple of these out in order just to get the front on. The one thing you gotta be mindful of is, like, as soon as you touch something like this, you do get a smudge. But I mean, it's a rig. It's gonna get dirty. This thing is so clean though, it's gonna break my heart to scratch it, but that's what it's for. So we're gonna use this, and we're gonna use that. I've actually got a FSR Evo tent that we used to have on the Tundra, and then it went on the 4Runner. This is like winter mess right now, so, you know, pardon the mess, but this rooftop tent is going to go on that truck, and it's going to look pretty cool. So, oh yeah, and like Mark IV Supras and Mark III Supras and another Mark IV Supra, and the Daywalker himself here at Performance Auto Works builds a lot of cool stuff, and he helps me all the time. Help me get this rack on there as usual, because I'm pretty useless when it comes to this shit. So thanks, buddy.
You get so patient.
now all we need is a set of Nokian tires on here, and we're pretty much going to be ready to go. So there's the Sequoia. We'll figure out a name for this thing, and then we'll ramp it into some bushes and wreck this perfect paint. What do you think?
Let's do it.
Ciao for now.